I know there are going to be some people who are going to be offended, and I'm not trying to offend people, but I'm being honest with some people. For 50 years, well, actually 30 of those 50 years, but for 50 years, the so-called Hispanic community, or damn near 50 years, I should say, have done everything in their power to leapfrog over Black Americans and try to use the laws that was intended, or things were intended for Black folks to get ahead in this country. Now, what I mean by that is that during the Civil Rights era, or even before what we consider the Civil Rights era, Black men, Black women, Black children have sacrificed. They fought, they've marched, they boycotted, they begged for people to treat us as human beings. Other groups have come to this country, or who came to this country way, way after we were here, decided that they're going to say that we are part of the coalition, or we're minorities as well. That mean not just the so-called Hispanic or Latino, however you want to call it, white women as well, ethnic whites, the gays, the Jews. All of them have decided to join in and claim to be victims in some way. And we need to be honest and realistic that no group of people on this planet, and I say this again, on this planet has been treated like the Black man, woman, or child. Not just here in America, or the Americas, I should say, or in Europe, but in Australia, over in what we call the Middle East, so-called Middle East, and so-called Asia, because we were the first on all of this planet. White anthropologists even had to admit that our ancestry went back millennia, many millennia, you know what I mean? Or many generations, I should say. But that doesn't stop those who have melanin, who figure my melanin is lighter, my hair texture is closer to the so-called dominant, so I'm going to allow myself a thumb. Never mind that the culture that they enjoy is extremely similar to what our culture is. And then when you go back and find out where these people originated from, they still sit there and say, well, we're not a part of the Black family, until they get their nigga moment. Now, I told y'all in various videos, those who've been subbed to me, that when my father was going to Malcolm X College over on the Chicago's West Side, he and some other Black students were in the class with a Hispanic dude. And they was talking about Black rights and civil rights and everything. And I guess this Hispanic dude wasn't feeling it and said, well, in 30 years, we'll be over you guys. Now, that's something to say to a group of Black folk that wasn't doing anything to him, but he felt that Black folks had a little too much pride at that point, or was feeling themselves, however you want to look at it, and said, in 30 years, we'll be here. He broke it down. He said, because he said, y'all too damn trusting. He said, y'all think that we're your friends. We're not your friends. Now, my father said if it was a different time, they'd probably beat the shit out of him. But this is the mid '70s, so it was the mindset was totally different. And my father said he remembered the classroom, the people's dismissive of it and whatnot. And then my father said every time he goes into a restaurant or sees some of them on TV, he said that guy was a prophet. He was on point. Now, I can't get mad at the Hispanic community, so-called Hispanic community. And when I use the term so-called Hispanic, people need to understand that Hispanic was a term created by the Nixon administration to separate them from the Black community. Because you know, anytime anybody was considered Black, they've all broken into different categories now to keep our numbers low, or keep their numbers sort of high, or inflate their numbers. But anyways, I can't get mad at them from seeing a path and taking it. I can't get mad at them from going out there working and strengthening their communities. But the thing is, they help destroy our communities. And when we point out, you say, you're racist, you're anti-Latin. No. I live in Illinois. Illinois is considered a hub state. The Chicagoland area, you know, the Chicagoland area is pretty expansive. It can go into Northwest Indiana, you know, depending on, you know, because of the television market, radio market, and whatnot, in proximity to O'Hare, Midway Airport, and other things, right? In Chicago, I remember there were communities that were white, communities where blacks wasn't wanted, but then a few blacks moved in, but then a few Hispanics moved in, and those Hispanics got with the white people or had the same mindset as the white people to push those blacks out. If anybody's familiar with Chicago's West Side, if you go from Costner, well, actually, you can go take it all the way back to Harlem Avenue in Berwyn, or North Riverside. But let's take Costner. Costner all the way down to, let's say, Western, or even past Western. Let's say Ashland. The Hispanics have taken over that area. You might have one or two blacks over there, but I know it ain't a lot. They took over that area. That was an area that was white. Blacks went, because my parents went to high school in that area. They went to Farragut. Pat Sajak and them went there too, and I forget the white chick, forever. But that's Pat Sajak and them went to that school, right? Anyways, blacks was going to Farragut, so it would make sense that blacks were living in that area to a certain degree. Around the late 70s and I know in the 80s, because I remember when my grandmother and aunts and us would go to Gold Blacks over there. They started moving in, and overnight, whatever blacks was in that neighborhood, they got pushed out. In the city of Chicago, they knew it. And when Mayor Washington was still mayor, they wasn't doing that in droves. It wasn't that he died when they got Mayor Daley in there. When they went to overdrive coming through, they came over. They got Cermak Road from Cermak and Western all the way down to Cicero, Illinois. Let's take it all the way into Berwyn, okay? Oh, they overnight. Now, I'm not mad at them for saying, hey, we got a plan. We're gonna come in, start our businesses. You gotta admire people like that. But at the expense of us. Now, these motherfuckers got melanin in their skin. A lot of them are brown skin, just like us, but they figure because they lighter brown or their hair is a lot less coarse than ours, that they're closer to the so-called dummy. Now, many videos that I've done, I said, I've been around white folk. Before I went in the army, before I got out of grammar school. White kids would say, Mexicans are dirty, they're thieves, they're violent, they're drug dealers. So when I heard Donald Trump say that 30-something years later, I said, wow. So if Donald Trump is saying it as a 70-year-old man, what was he saying back in the 1960s when he was in his 20s? In the late 60s, he was in early to mid 20s. 70s, mid 20s, I should say. In high school, I remember going to work and having an African boss. You know, the Hispanic community, like Africans, they work harder than Black Americans. And I remember being a crew member, and I said, "Hey, with all due respect, I mean, you my boss," but I said that's not true. Now, but the irony is that boss, he respected me for saying, because nobody else, the managers, nobody else. Because look, I don't like that stereotype that every other community worked harder than blacks, but yet we were slaves. So how can everybody else work harder than us, but our people were slaves in descendants? But to the modern day black person said, we'll work, but you're not going to cheat us out of our pay. You're not going to have us do demeaning jobs and then turn around and take credit for it. That's what the modern day black person is saying. But we got on this stereotype that they work harder. And let me say something, and I want to point this out. Our sisters, when got into the management field, started saying that shit a lot in the day. And I can tell you, I remember when I was in fast school and it was slowly switching over from male management to female management. And I remember working my way up. Now the white managers never say this shit. They wasn't stupid enough. If they thought it, they never said it around us. It was black female managers. Now I don't want to make it like all of them, but I guarantee you, if you work in fast food or work in fast food and a female manager, they've said the Hispanic people work harder. I remember a coworker of mine. One day I was hired to be. She said, "Why you hiring that many black folks?" I said, "Well, that's what's in the neighborhood." I said, if we can get a diverse crowd, I hire a diverse crowd." Well, what about the Hispanics? I said, I have no problem hiring Hispanic people, but the thing is, they got to be able to speak English because I'm not going to let you just work the grill or be a porter at a fry station. They got to work every position in here, and they got to be able to communicate. Don't play that me no English shit, because you have no English to get around and do things in this country, especially in this neighborhood, because the neighborhood was transitioning from predominantly white to mixed to black, a black neighborhood. Because you know when we move in, they run out real quick. So, anyways, this guy come in, and his name was El something. It was El. So I can't remember what El Gante. I can't pronounce. I ain't gonna try to. But anyways, he comes in, put an application in. So I'm going to do the interview, asking some questions because I know exactly where I need to put him. So she comes out and say, "I do the interview." And I think either she was trying to hop. I think she was searching for dick too, because she was always on the prowl. Because she's one of them church women always talking about Jeebus, and always then turn around and play like she's Miss Betty Sunshine. But we all knew that then she'd be sucking and slobbing on somebody in the heartbeat. But anyways, I'm like, I gotta know. I interviewed him. I was like, okay, well, this is your store. You know, I'm just assistant at that time. I'm just assistant at that location. So she said, I hired him. I said, well, you don't on paper. He said he can work nights, and I really want him at night. You know, no, I want him in the morning. You know, he could be the porter. You know, the Mexicans work hard. And I said, let me stop you right there. Stop that. Stop. When they work hard, I said they work cheap. That's the difference between working hard and work cheap. See, they'd rather come over here. They work for four. At that time, minimum wage wasn't that high. It was like $4.75, $5 max. But it was like $4.75, something like that, right? And I said they'll work cheap to get ahead because they keep quiet. They might go home complain, or they might complain in their language if they got more around them, but they don't work harder than anybody else. I said the black employees, you quit dogging them out. So she puts him on the day side. I said, okay, you put him on the day side. I said he ain't gonna be here long. And I could tell. I could just tell that he didn't want to work mornings. But you put him on mornings and everything. I said you got him out here scrubbing the drive-through lanes, because at that time the location I worked at, the Checkers I worked at, was double drive-through. Now Checkers are phasing that out, going to a single drive-through system. But get to scrub those pads down. Get to spray down the buildings, because that black-white checkerboard and all that stuff. And I don't think he liked doing that. And I said he wanted to work nights, because I guarantee he had a job in the daytime working in some factory somewhere, or wanted to get a job in the factory. So I remember telling another coworker, I said, give him a month. He gonna bounce. I'm telling you, I can tell, because I know because see, working my way up as a crew member, you pick up on certain things. I kid you not, it wasn't even a month that dude quit when he got a job working in some factory. And she was calling me, Harvey, I need some help. I said, why are you calling me? Well, maybe you can come in. I said, I'm a salary level manager. My schedule says 5 o'clock. I see you at 5 o'clock. Well, I'm your boss. I said, you're one of my bosses, but I'm also your coworker. And I told you, I said, do not put him in the mornings. I said, now you got to get on that damn grill as a manager. It's been times I have to run that grill as a manager. So tuck your tie in, go get an apron on, and put your 2 girls on your cash register. Have your low side float, or the high side float to the walk up. You got, and there was an older white lady that worked making the sandwiches, and you could slide over, put enough meat up, bacon up, grilled onions up, the hot dogs up. You can work it, and then you get low, slide your ass back over. She thought I was joking because I wanted to teach her a fucking lesson. So I get there, she's pissed off, and I said, why are you pissed off at me? I said, y'all don't listen to black men. Y'all don't listen to us. I said, I went to school with them. I know how they think. I live around them. I know what they thinking. They only come, especially if they're illegal. or they paperwork they finally catching up with them. They want to put a paper trail down, so when they go fill the application, say, have you worked before? Yes, I worked at this place. I worked there. I have paper trail. They don't got necessarily gonna call you. How many people get phone calls in fast food saying, does such work at this fast food location? No. Because guarantee you, all they gotta do is show a work history, and they don't take nothing but a few minutes to click on and say, oh, well, you got a paper trail. You worked at this location. She worked at that location. So probably about 2 days later, we had a manager meeting. The supervisor came out, and it was a female, and they're like, Harvey, why you didn't come in? I said, what did I tell y'all? I get paid for 50. I'll be get paid for 40 hours, right? And I said, the schedule is split a certain way. I said every now and then I stick around past that, but technically once I'm not paid, that's my time. And if I suggest to you to do something or allow me to do something as the only male manager in this location, let me do it. And I said 9 times out of 10, when I tell y'all something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You guys think that they work better, they work harder, they work cheap. And after a while, they're gonna stop working cheap. Fast forward to recent history. These motherfuckers are marching, and you got dumbass black men and women. We need $15 an hour living wage. I don't mean no harm, but you don't need no $15 an hour in a fast food restaurant. If you are working a fast food restaurant as a permanent job, your life is pretty pathetic. That may sound tough. You should make, I'm gonna be honest with you should be making no more than $8. 9 with the well, I guess the minimum wage is 9 to some places. I might grant you 10. Anything past 10, no. I'm sorry. You're not gonna go into McDonald's, Burger King, White Castle, Checkers, Jack in the Box, Hardee's, Crystals, Steak and Shake, or whatever other restaurants that's in your media market, and say, I ain't gonna go work another job. I'm gonna work this job flipping burgers and frying chicken for 15, 16 bucks an hour. No. Because you got these kids that's coming out looking for their first jobs, gonna come in, they're gonna be nitpicking their jobs, don't want to work. I can go get another $15 an hour job, blah blah blah. And then you upset the economic thing. I know people say, you're sounding like an economist, but I am. I'm just being honest with you. But the Hispanic community decided that they said, this is not enough for us. We want that American dream that's advertised. Have you ever wondered how a Hispanic person can come over here within less than a year and buy a brand new house? I ain't talking about a house that's been sitting around 50 to 100 years. I'm talking about a brand new house. Now, I know when I was a manager at KFC, it was a shift supervisor. She used to collect all the checks on Monday. When they got paid on Mondays, you would get all the checks. And she'd be 15 deep in her apartment. I'm not exaggerating. And because she knew English better than them, she would get them jobs. And she would come through, learn the KFC system, how to work there. And they go, and they would quit and go to another KFC. Get another one in, and then go to another one. They'd be in a little network of them. But that one Hispanic person would still get a cut of that pay. So after a while, you see her and her husband riding up a brand new pickup truck. I ain't talking about a new car in the sense of it's a 10-year-old vehicle. I ain't talking about in the sense of it was a 5-year-old new car. I'm talking about if it was a 2016, it would be a 2016. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know that, I highly doubt that woman is still at that location. I'm pretty sure she probably made management, or they probably got her own business somewhere. Because you try to tell our people this stuff, they are allies. This coalition. I'm like, okay. How many Mexican restaurants do you see having black people working in there? How many black businesses do you see in the so-called Hispanic community? How many blacks do you see going to a so-called Hispanic grammar school or high school? How many Hispanics come to our community and stand with us against police brutality? It's only when they try to get something out of us, they want to manipulate and mind fuck us. And then the ones that been here, not as long as we have, but longer than the ones that came over here recently, they hate the ones that just got over here. Because they figure if I can learn English and assimilate, you can do the same thing. You can come over here and you can do the same thing. Last night, Joy Reid had a Hispanic guy who was still defending Donald Trump. He said, "My people are aggressive. If you don't stop them, you'll have a taco truck on every corner." Now, they got Hispanic coons and handkerchief heads and sound bowls. Don't think they don't. I've met them. You know, my family been here since the turn of the century. If I and my family can make it in America and assimilate and salute the flag, they can come over and do it. Y'all remember back in around 2006 when they started the protest? That's when they started to feel themselves. And at first they was waving the Mexican flag around. People started saying, "Look at the flag waving." And then somebody from the right said, you can wave the Mexican flag, but wave the American flag. So every time you get seen have an American flag, you notice they have it. And they go get the little girl, the chubby or little skinny little girl. "I'm afraid my mommy and daddy gonna get taken away. I live in fear." Then they go get they do a documentary of the little high school Hispanic girl. She not quite legal, but she get to be the eye candy for some perverted dude. And they always show her a tight shirt. "I go to school and I work hard. I work a job and I bring the checks home to my mother and father. And my mother, she lives in because of fear. She does little out-of-end job." I said, they good. They learned from us. They learned. See, in the 1960s, we had the cameras in front. We knew how to manipulate the image. We knew we took little kids out there and adults and said, "We shall overcome." We knew that Bull Connor and people across the country will pull out the dogs. They take the billy clubs, or they take the water hoses, or they knew that there would be people in the crowd. "Niggers go home, not in my neighborhood. Fuck you. Niggers go home. Your monkeys, your apes." See, they learned from what we had to go through. But the difference is, they said, we'll go work with our enemy. The enemy is our friend. So for a good 30 years, they didn't vote Democrat, they voted Republican. But then when they started realizing that white folks are slowly getting tired of their sons bringing that Eva home, and then their daughters bringing Alejandro home, and then in a few years, the grandkids ain't looking like them. They looking a little too dark. And some of them looking like you and I. Have y'all seen a white person, a Hispanic person? Some of them, their kids come out looking darker. Full lips. Oh, you don't believe me? Turn on your TV. Notice when Jennifer Lopez bust on the scene back in the late 90s and early 2000s, Mark Anthony, Ricky Mark, remember how everybody, Ricky Bum, shake your bum, shake your bum, but they loved until he said he liked dick. Jennifer Lopez was sexy. She was hot, but then she kicked Diddy to the curb because she said, "I don't need nigga no money. I'm popular now." Remember Benny Medina, who's her manager, was working with Quincy Jones on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. When you go look at Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you'll see his name pop up in the credits. Then Jennifer, but she still knew she couldn't run too far away from a fly girl, Jenny on the Block origins, because she didn't want to piss the black community off too much, because, we would say, "Wait a minute, you Puerto Rican, you ain't nothing but a nigga can swim." That's the running joke. So, but she felt she got some white dick, Ben Affleck. But white society, they wasn't having that. Ben Affleck's mom wasn't feeling that. His best friend, Matt Damon, who ironically got with a woman that looked suspicious, looked like she's of color, wasn't feeling it. Ben's career started to hurt in her career. All the white folks that loved her, they stopped going to her movies. So what did Jennifer do? She had to run back to the Hispanic community, start singing shit in Spanish. She had to run and get married to Mark Anthony. She didn't want him, but she wanted kids. Once she got her kids, she pulled what we later call a Mariah Carey. Got with Nick Cannon, got her kids, get the fuck out. And both of them had sets of twins. Ain't that ironic? Ain't that a coincidence? But hey, it's just me. Then she goes to American Idol. I'm like, wait a minute. She was a fly girl, and she's judging a singing competition. Okay, fine. But then she come out, thought that she was back in. She still wasn't accepted by the ass. See, y'all flavors of the month. And white folks want to let y'all know, oh, y'all done got too comfortable. Y'all thought that y'all on our level. No, you were just put here to keep the niggas at bay. Cicero, Illinois was predominantly white. If you was a black person and you didn't work at Western Electric, the granddaddy would now consider AT&T and stuff. And y'all see me do videos on it. Western Electric over there on Cermak and Cicero. If you wasn't working in there, and when you got off work, whatever shift you got off, you better get the fuck out of Dodge. Don't get caught driving down Cicero. Guys, from Cermak all the way down to Roosevelt Road, that was still considered white town. If you was going back towards the old Sportsman Park, Hawthorne Racetrack, that was still white town. And you better not be going down Cermak towards Harlem that time of night. And I'm pretty sure some dead brothers and sisters didn't make it home from Western Electric. So you better go down to Cermak towards Costner, or Cermak down to Pulaski and take your ass if you lived on any parts of the west side. Or if you lived on the south side, you better go down to Western Avenue, and that's risky because that will still you go through Marquette and Gage Park. So you better go down to Ashland, or you better go all the way down, take you all the way down to State Street, and go through south side that way. If you lived on the south side, my mother and father grew up in what they call the K-10 area. Wasn't that far from Cicero, Illinois. I remember when I was a little kid, my mother and them used to take us to Cicero, Illinois. They used to go to North Riverside. And that was a sundown town. We knew it. I know for some of y'all younger brothers and sisters, like, what's a sundown town? Y'all better go look it up. Better ask your older siblings and your aunts and uncles, or your parents, or damn sure your grandparents will know it. When blacks tried to, it was a black man. He was in the army, but he came back home. He was a CTA bus driver, if I'm not mistaken, or milk. I think he was a CTA bus driver. He tried to move his family to a building in Cicero, Illinois. Now, Cicero is also notorious for Al Capone and the mob being through there, okay? And they still rumored it has some mob gang ties to Cicero. They torched the people in the neighborhood torched the apartment they was in. They said they had to burn down the whole building to get to those niggas. They would have. They had to bring the National Guard. I think it was 1955 when that happened, or 56 if I'm not mistaken. I gotta go back and look at it again. Now in Chicago, they won't mention that. They don't talk about that. They don't want the Chicago and the surrounding suburbs want to pretend like they had no racial history. They like to say they love Dr. King or the Civil Rights Movement. But the irony was, white folks did not want blacks. Even the white folks was moving out of the neighborhood. They didn't like the idea of blacks living. That's my childhood home. I don't want to drive past and see them jungle bunnies walking out. So what do? Mom, Dad, don't move. Or I'm going to stay here until I can't take it no more. Oh, you what's your name? You're Mr. Rodriguez? You Mr. Flores? Yeah, we're selling this 3-bedroom bungalow with basement and unfinished attic. We're going to sell it to you for about $45,000. Now, this is the 1980s. That was kind of expensive then, you know. Now these homes going for $155,000 or $200-some thousand, depending on what the condition they're in. So from 1988 to about up to this point, whoever the whites are still there, those are motherfuckers that own their homes. They just gonna die there. But the ones who ran out and went to out of state, or went further west, or went further south, or went further downstate, they sold it to the Hispanics, and overnight, you know, they had the Mexican up. Storefronts, they turned into Little Mexico. You see piñatas everywhere. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just observing what's going on. Not those people say, "Oh, Harvey, you being mean, you being real." I'm not being real. I'm observing. I'm telling you what they did. And for a while, they didn't want blacks up in Cicero. I remember in the 90s, there was instances where black families were trying to move in. They was being harassed. Now today, there's some in there. Because over time, brothers and sisters kind of say, "Wait a minute, you motherfuckers don't know the history of Cicero, and you're going to try to continue that shit?" But yet you come into our communities and get jobs and dismiss or displace us. Oh, we can't have that shit. But thanks to former mayor of Chicago Daley having that reach, thanks to President Clinton and them and these fucking Democratic and Republican senators, they gave these motherfuckers room to grow in the 90s and the 2000s. But as I said, now they're going to see their grandkids, and them kids ain't looking like them, or their sons and daughters can't keep jobs, or they getting lowballed in jobs, or when they go pay a bill, press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish. Or now they turn on the TV, Telemundo, Univision, go! They don't like that shit. So here comes Donald Trump. It's going to be huge. It's going to be great. But we're going to push these people out here. They're criminals and they're murderers and blah, blah, blah. And the Hispanic community like, oh, what? I used to watch The Apprentice. But guess what? Black folks was telling y'all for years, they didn't like y'all. Y'all was only used to keep us at bay. Y'all was only there to make our lives miserable, those who chose to make it. And I'm not saying every so-called Hispanic done this. There are a lot of good people out there who are Hispanic, who are respectful. Hey, my brother, my friend, who don't bother nobody. And I don't begrudge, like I said in the early part of this video, I don't begrudge them for wanting to better their lives and their family lives, but not at the expense of our people, my people. They forget who they come from. I remember one day I was in the Army, and we outside just chilling because we, like I told y'all, a lot of people got the misconception about military and what we do in our jobs. And a lot of times we report the formation after breakfast chow at 0900, and we be done by 10:30, 11 o'clock. So we waiting for it to be dismissed, so we in the motor pool or whatever, chilling. And I remember this white guy said, he said, look at that bean over there. Now, here it is. I guess he figured the Hispanic and black community don't get along, so I guess he figured he could say that. But I didn't like that. Look at that beaner over there. Look at that motherfucker. He probably had moose in his head to think he's being a white, but look how his hair look. Have y'all seen Hispanics who wet their hair, put like moose and shit in their head? Like Arabs, it don't clump the way, it don't sit the same way a Caucasian hair does. Because guess what? Y'all still got traces of that coarse hair in your head. I mean, if you don't believe me, you watch. When somebody say, I'm Italian, and watch and look at their hair. I'm like, you ain't Italian, you Mexican. I'm not Mexican. I said I could tell. I said I could hear the little faint accent. Then I can look at your bone structure. And then people say, Harvey, how can you? And then I said, your hair gives away, my friend. You might want to stop with the moose. And I said, if you don't believe me, look around. Look at that guy who's Spanish. Look in your head, just doing the same damn thing. Oh, the next day, the guy stopped doing it. Matter of fact, he let his hair grow out. And he tried to do like a Marco Rubio, even though we know Marco Rubio doing a comb over. We know he balded and bald. And don't even let me get on the Dominicans, or I mean, not the Dominicans, those white, so-called white Cubans. They hate black folks, and we ain't did a damn thing to you. But the point I'm trying to make is, y'all thought that Donald Trump and people like them love y'all. No, they love y'all to cut our throats. The black man and black woman and black child. Then when y'all get y'all nigga moment, y'all want to like, we need a court. No. Y'all going this one alone. Because we warned y'all. For 30 years, y'all split the vote. Y'all pandered to the Republicans, and y'all allowed them. And y'all knew they was rotten. Y'all knew several elements of the Democratic Party was rotten. Look how the Democrats have bent over for y'all. Motherfuckers sneak in the country, been driving illegal, we give you a license. I drive illegal, I lose my license, or I have to pay a hefty fine. If I didn't, do you think I'm going to get point, or I don't understand Spanish, but you think they're going to say, well, Harvey, we're going to teach you this job, even though you don't understand Spanish, but we're going to teach you some Spanish to go along so you can, they won't do that. But in America, we'll hire you if you don't even know English, but we'll help you get this job and teach you English as you go along. Think about that rally. Donald Trump went to Mexico. Then he did the rally that night. That was nothing but a damn Klan meeting. Yeah, my son was killed by illegal. And I know damn well everybody coming to America illegal is not Hispanic. We got people that come from Australia, from Great Britain, from other parts of the globe. But y'all sat back for a long time and basically gave the black community the middle finger and said, fuck you niggers. We're white now. Just like the so-called Native American. Y'all denied y'all had any blackness, anything to y'all. Then y'all got tired of these damn stereotypes about the Redskins. Well, it's just like the black man. Stop mentioning us in y'all fights. Because everything y'all do, you copied us or benefit from our pain. Now y'all were like, Donald Trump, we can't support him. He's racist. Oh, now y'all see he's racist. Oh, he wasn't racist when he was accusing them black boys of rape. He wasn't racist when he discriminated him and his father against black tenants. He wasn't racist when he's talking about black celebrities. He wasn't racist when he's talking about the first black, or quote unquote, actually technically the second black president. He wasn't racist when he was insulting our women. He wasn't racist saying, there go black, there go my African American, the blacks. Now y'all want us to cry. I worked with y'all. I'm not treacherous, some of y'all are. I know that y'all sit back and claim that we brothers and sisters, and then we ain't around. You know, I ain't never like that nigga. They monkeys, they nasty. How many of them come on YouTube and left questionable comments? Attacked us, trolled. And some of them, they didn't hide their images. They came right out. Remember that girl, the two girls, and I told y'all in my video, I said, she Cuban, other one white. Harvey, they two white girls. I said, no, it's a difference. She's Cuban and that one's white. That Cuban girl's got more connection than you think. But a lot of us get caught up in pigment a lot of times, and that's what throw us off. She did all the talking about black folk. When people came at her, who's the first one to apologize? That white girl quickly apologized because she knew that she wasn't that white girl that boys would be looking at people go defend. She'd be at a school with a bunch of black kids and get her ass whooped. Or she knew that she had to work with black folk. She can't. I apologize. But the Cuban girl, she was defiant until somebody said, you got to get kicked out of school. It was a YouTube troll around, and y'all know that dude with a ball cap and glasses, talking, just fucking with us. Nobody did nothing to him. This is y'all nigga moment, but you know what, y'all, but people like they never learn. They still will go stand with the so-called racist element of the white community. Do I feel sorry for y'all? No. Because we warned y'all time and time again. There have been black men, women, and children throughout the ages who said, hey, or after years, I should say, ages, people like this, centuries and centuries and centuries. But over the years said, yo, they don't like y'all. They just using y'all to keep us at bay. Y'all don't take that drugs and shit into their community like that. And then people say, that's a stereotype. What's that, the dude El Chapo? He's a big time drug, and they got a drug network. Who got to? So you got to be people to take orders from. Hold on, take those drugs in Chicago. Hold on, take those drugs in New York. Hold on. Come on. In California, they are killing blacks, pushing blacks out of traditionally black neighborhoods. Y'all get construction jobs before we do. Y'all will get to work in these fast food, these restaurants, these waiters and shit. And the former president of Mexico back in 2005, Vicente Fox, blacks are lazy. Mexicans do the jobs that blacks would not do. How dare you? So I don't want to hear y'all bitching and moaning about Donald Trump right now or Fox News and them. Because y'all thought y'all was white. Y'all thought y'all was in. But y'all nothing but light-skinned niggas. Now, would some of y'all wake up and realize that? No. Some do. Others don't. That's a guy, I don't know if he's still on YouTube or if his channel is still active. He did a video where he went on Xing the so-called Hispanics, whether they've been Dominican or Puerto Rican or Mexican or even so-called Native American. Do you see yourself as white or black? And so many of them said white. He broke it down to them. They had this look on their face. And he said, what's your skin tone? Brown. He broke it down. They all like a bunch of idiots. So like I said, the reason why I bring this up, 'cause last night I was laughing my ass off the last 2 nights. I'm like, we warned you. I even did videos saying, like, I warned y'all. They look at y'all like niggas. They know who y'all are. They know where you from. Guarantee a white person gonna know where you from. They gonna know who you are. That's why they always on our websites, our YouTube channels, and social media. They want to make sure that you don't know. I remember one day somebody came to me pretending to be Hispanic. I went to their channel, there was a white guy. He didn't want me talking about the videos because he said this nigga know too much. But it's common sense. If you just step back and observe, you'd be so much you can see. But Donald Trump and the Republican Party gave y'all a middle finger. See, they attack us. They wait till a few months to do re-election. They do the election tax. The blacks. They talk to us like we stupid, but they despise y'all. When Donald Trump said, they talk about Univision is going to boycott, Donald Trump didn't care. He knuckled down. He didn't apologize. Now he's trying to say, I take a stand, I'm soft on immigration or no. He meant what he said. And when you got David Duke and them endorsing, I'm talking about this morning, they played a clip of David Duke and them in some clans in the country, neo-Nazis endorsing Trump. But y'all want to question our patriotism and loyalty. Y'all want to say that y'all are true immigrants. You motherfuckers just got off the boat or plane and came over here. And let me say this again. I do not think all illegal immigrants are Mexican or Hispanic or Latino, however you want to call it. They're from other places. They even Africans that have come over here unannounced or overstayed. They welcome. People from Jamaica, I don't want y'all to be able to come up in here and leapfrog over black Americans and then join the so-called dominant. And then when the so-called dominant assault you want to run back to us? No. So those Hispanics for Trump, y'all need your head examined. Those Hispanics that thought they was going to split the vote, need your head examined. Those Hispanics who's trying to just figure out their place in the world, just step back and observe and see what happens. But I guarantee you, a lot of them are still going to support Trump. A lot of them will take stings and arrows from the so-called dominant culture. I've seen it firsthand. I've had my throat cut by Hispanic people. Not literally, but as far as work career-wise. Everything turned around. If a black person get hit, it's our turn. It's our turn. That's why I tell black people, stop with this coalition shit. We have no coalition. Because everybody else has been able to get fat off our backs and then throw us under the bus, and now they feeling it. Trump and them are racist. We knew that years ago. But y'all got with them because y'all thought that if you got next to the white daddy, instead of doing the way we do it, you have a better chance of survival. Well, guess what? They tired of your asses now. White America trying to throw the illegals out, putting a wall at the border. Now think about that for a second. Y'all too busy trying to displace us, but they was really plotting y'all. Now y'all sitting there like, who do we vote for? Who do we support? Or we support Hillary, all our Nazis, Hillary paraphernalia popping up in the neighborhood. Oh, Hillary, we love Hillary. We love the Democrats, our black brothers and sisters, but now y'all was going to vote for Trump. Well, I guess Trump should be the same thing. He didn't go to the Hispanic church, and Hispanics are just as religious, if not more so, than blacks in some cases. See, he's going to try to pander to the black community without speaking to the black community, but he don't want to speak to y'all at all. He sat around that panel, he knew that y'all was handkerchief heads. He knew that y'all had no backbone. This man, it's just, the shit that Trump has gotten away with over the years, it's mind-boggling. But to see the Hispanic community now yell about his racism when it was always present, and y'all went along with it and went along with other people's racism to us. Now y'all want to yell racism? Y'all got a lot of nerve.